Sanskrit Non-Translatables, book by Rajiv Malhotra and Satyanarayan Das Babaji, has been a great eye-opener for me. In fact, I have been looking for such a book myself for a long time. See, I learned about the Vedanta or Indian philosophy in a certain sense from a guru called Guruvarya Sakre Maharaj. He is very famous for his articulations and his commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. So learning from a guru is an entirely different experience. And I am very happy that had I not learned from a guru who understands the true significance of each word which we articulate or which we express, this one, we will never understand the core of our philosophy. I come from, I am a student of science, and most of the scientific tools and science books or science texts are in English language. And we, having studied English, it so happens that if I am interested in philosophy, if I am interested in, say, any Indian concept or Bharatiya concept, I will learn it through the English language. And I have found a tremendous difference between what the books said and what actually they meant. And this happens in all branches of Indian philosophy. For example, the common misunderstanding is in yoga. So yoga, the word itself is so profound that it cannot be translated at all. So we have assimilated that word yoga, that is correct. Similarly, Om. Om is the beginning and the end of Indian philosophy, not necessarily. It is no beginning and no end of Indian philosophy in that sense. And that cannot be translated as Amen, which you say in English language you will take like this. Prana, the concept like prana, which is not, which in everyday expression or in the books or even the textbooks are translated as breath. Prana is not breath, and that leads to a fundamental misunderstanding about the many things. Guru is not teacher. Guru is much more profound word. I think unless we understand the core of that word guru, we cannot understand what is the role of teacher. So there are so many words in English language and in Sanskrit language. If you see if you have to count the vocabulary of English language as appears in the dictionary, it will be 175,000 words or more, whatever it is. This one, there are different ways of counting. Sanskrit has almost infinite words. So how do you transfer infinite? And I can mathematically prove, and I was just going through the interpretation of that graphic, you can generate almost infinite words. And that is the profoundness of ourselves, because we ourselves are infinite in the graphic. So each shade has to be a different, and Sanskrit can have different words. Sanskrit has different words for morning, for evening, and many things which I say. So in that sense, there are mapping finite words, mapping infinite words into a finite set of words is almost a, so there are many words will remain non-translatables. I think that is not the issue. The issue of this book, Sanskrit Non-Translatables, is a very core issue that, and we must accept that. And this has to be accepted when you go to the core of understanding philosophy, particularly why it is important for us, for Indians or for Hindus or whatever is important, because we try to understand our philosophy reading English books, and that's what I have done. So one thing is that I think the very philosophy, then to understand that English has to be enriched. I think the case Rajiv Malhotra ji and Satyanarayan Das Babaji are making is that English must, and English has accepted. I think English has words from many languages, and it got enriched in that process, not correctly, but he has embraced many words. So his time is there. I think it's very important that this philosophy is so profound, and many people are interested now in Hindu philosophy or Indian philosophy and Indian understanding of the concept of dharma. For example, the word dharma itself cannot be translatable. The concept like as a religion, it is not religion. So I think Rajiv ji Malhotra has been I think, has taken up this case head on in this book, and it's like a combat. And he has made a case that these are non-translatable words, and they must be adopted as it is and understood and adopted as they are, and then only we will go to the core of understanding. So this problem has come even an understanding our own philosophy through English books. I think that's what we teach. We teach our Indian philosophy, or in, I think, many universities, and this can be utterly wrong. So this book has opened my eyes. It will open everybody's eyes, because it's bringing the core issues to the fore. So all this has been brought together in one table, in the tabular form, in the graphical form, so that the Western audiences, or we as scientific audiences, can understand and this can be eye-opening for us. We ourselves will understand deeply our own culture or our own philosophies if we read this book, Sanskrit non-translatables. And this is the case. I think this is it will be for Western audience, or especially oriented readers or critics. This will come as a shock. This will come. Also, to many people, it will come as a shock. And reading this book itself, we will start understanding that what it is not, that word what it is not, we'll understand through this book, and what truly means. And then is a case for going deeper into delving deep into our own great philosophy, and the Vedanta and yoga, and many there are several branches of our philosophies which can be interpreted in many ways. For example, the concept of Pancha Mahabhuta, like we translate in English. So the word are just utterly translated wrongly. Each has Mahabhuta as a great meaning, and how the whole, I think, the universe get constructed to the Pancha Mahabhuta, and that cannot be understood by just word by word translation, which we have been doing. So this book, it must be read by us, particularly those who are interested. The Indians also, I'm taking, are interested to understand our own culture deeply, our own philosophy deeply, and I think truly, and we'll revisit on our own understanding and how profound our philosophy is to understand the nature of reality, which is the main subject of philosophy. So I think it has been eye-opener for me. Everybody should read this book. I think those who are interested, particularly our students or teachers, and those who are interested in both reading through English language, must read this book, and then of course that will open up many doors for them, and as it has opened for me. So I congratulate Rajiv Malhotra, and also Satyanarayan Ji Das. I have not met him, Babaji, I have not met him, but wonderful book.